How to fix your relationship with your wife? That's a question that usually comes to a man when the silence in the house has become louder than any argument you've ever had. You've realized that the person who used to be your greatest ally now feels like a stranger living in the same zip code. Or perhaps she's already walked out the door. You're likely feeling that specific heavy brand of anxiety, the kind that sits in the pit of your stomach when you realize you've lost control of the one thing that was supposed to be your foundation. I know exactly what you're going through. You're probably navigating a cycle of confusion where every time you try to do something nice, it gets thrown back in your face, or worse, ignored completely. You feel like you're walking on eggshells in your own home. You might feel a sense of profound injustice and unfairness, thinking about all the ways you've provided and protected, yet you're being treated like a villain. You're lonely even when she's sitting right next to you on the couch. And that loneliness is sharper than the kind you feel when you're actually alone. People blame you. They blame you for everything, telling you that you've checked out, or that you didn't listen enough, or that you took her for granted. Maybe your friends are telling you to just man up and leave, or your family is whispering that you've lost your backbone. You've been told you're too aggressive, or too passive, too busy with work, or not successful enough. It feels like no matter which way you turn, you're being measured against a yardstick or a goalpost that keeps moving, that keeps changing. But let's strip away the noise. Most men, they wait until the house is on fire to look for the hose. According to data and studies on domestic stability, the breakdown of a marriage isn't usually a sudden explosion. It's a slow erosion of trust and attraction. In fact, by the time most couples reach out for help, they've been unhappy for an average of 6 years. If you've seen our previous video, Time to Divorce, the 5 stages of marital collapse, you know that the clock is a real thing, but it's a clock that you can actually stop if you understand the physics of human influence, seduction, and attraction. The story of a failing marriage usually begins with a shift in the power dynamic that neither of you noticed. You started as two independent people who chose each other, but over time, the choice became an obligation. You stopped being the man she chose and became the man she manages. When she starts losing feelings, it's rarely because of one big mistake. It's because the version of you she fell in love with has been replaced by a version of you that is either too available, too needy, or too disconnected from your own mission. When a woman starts to pull away, your instinct is to chase. You want to set date nights or implement things like the 777 rule, a date every 7 days, a weekend away every 7 weeks, and a vacation every 7 months. But I'm telling you right now, do not do that yet. Trying to force a romantic getaway on a woman who is currently repelled by your presence is like trying to put a high performance engine in a car with no wheels. It won't go anywhere, and you just end up frustrated and broke. I want to share 5 rules. 5 rules I wish I knew earlier. You need to start with a cold hard assessment. Rule number 1, assessment. This isn't about blaming her, it's about looking at the landscape of the relationship with the eyes of a strategist. What is the current temperature? If she is disconnected, your primary goal isn't romance, it's safety and curiosity. You have to identify the specific behaviors that led here. Rule number 2, identify. If you've ruined things with the love of your life, you have to forgive yourself first. If you're operating from a place of guilt or regret, she will smell that weakness in you. Contrary to popular belief, a disconnected wife doesn't want your endless apologies. She wants to see a man who is stable enough to lead himself out of the dark. This brings us to something simple you can implement right away, right now, today. It's a technique I call active intelligence gathering. Instead of trying to convince her why she should love you or why the relationship is worth saving, I want you to initiate a conversation where you do 80% of the listening. But here's the important part: you're forbidden from defending yourself. If she says, "You never care about my feelings," your response isn't, "That's not true. I did X, Y, and Z." Your response is, "Tell me more about when you started feeling that way." You're listening for understanding, not for an opening to make your case. This immediately lowers her defenses because you're no longer a source of friction. You are becoming a safe harbor for her truth, even if that truth is hard to hear. Once you've listened You must acknowledge, not agree, acknowledge. Rule number 3, acknowledge. There's a massive difference. Acknowledging a reality doesn't mean you are a doormat. It means you are intelligent enough to recognize the map she is using to navigate the world. From there, you shift the focus entirely to self. Rule number 4, self. This is where most men fail. They try to fix the wife to fix the marriage. You must fix the man to change the dynamic. If trust has been broken, remember that trust is a function of changed behavior plus consistency over time. You don't get to decide when she trusts you again. You only get to decide when you become a man worth trusting. If she's losing feelings, it's often because you've become too available. You've made her your sole habit. You need to reconnect with your personal mission and purpose. A man who has nowhere to go but the living room couch is really attractive to a woman who is looking for a leader. As you begin to rebuild yourself, you move into the final stage. Attract. Rule number 5, attract. This isn't about flowers and chocolates. This is about intentional influence. You treat her like you're getting to know her for the first time. If there has been a breakup or a separation, don't beg to reconnect. Instead, focus on showcasing that there is nothing better for her out there than the upgraded version of you. You leverage the existing history and the organic reasons you have to be around each other, kids, the house, mutual friends, to display your new emotional intelligence and your calm, assertive presence. Think of it like the 333 rule in dating. Usually, that's 3 dates to assess attraction, 3 weeks for compatibility, and 3 months for a serious commitment. In a marriage repair, you apply this by observing. After a few weeks of your new behavior, is she leaning in? After 3 months of you being a man of mission and emotional stability, is the atmosphere in the home lighter? You don't set ultimatums. Ultimatums are for the weak. You set standards for yourself and you let your transformed life be the invitation for her to join you. If she asks to break up or divorce, let the old version of the relationship go. It wasn't working anyway. Use the active listening framework to understand her desire for space and then give it to her with such confidence and lack of neediness that she begins to wonder what you know that she doesn't. When you stop being a fixer and start being a man of prestige, a man that is valuable, that is stable, that is driven, it often comes back stronger than what you had on your wedding day. The road back is not about one grand gesture. It's about 1,000 small strategic choices rooted in self-accountability. You are the architect of your social reality. If you want a different response from her, you have to provide a different stimulus. You have to be the man who can handle our storms without being swept away by them. I want to hear from you in the comments. Looking back at the moment where things started to slide, what do you think the other side, that is the love of your life, what do you think they saw that you might have missed at the time? Or if you were her, what would you have wanted to see differently from the man standing in front of you? This is Ola, Man of Prestige, your favorite relationship and marriage coach. If you enjoyed this, smash that like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs it. Be a part of the Prestige family. My wife Lola and I have written 2 powerful books, Get My Marriage Back and Number One Red Flag. Yours free at manofprestige.com. For personal coaching, send me a WhatsApp request for consultation to +1 732 305 8577. Stay tuned for more. Your journey to love and prestige starts here.